The movie industry has undergone huge shifts in both how films are produced and how we watch them. From CGI to streaming services to Disney reboots, the entertainment industry is looking a whole lot different than it used to. Remember the days of VHS tapes, DVDs, and Blockbuster? Nowadays, streaming services like Netflix and Amazon Prime are stepping up to challenge the big film studios. So, are we looking at the new golden age of Hollywood or a new kind of movie experience? Let's take a trip back to the early 20th century when the movie industry was like nothing you'd ever seen before. The 1930s gave birth to an iconic period in entertainment history, the golden age of Hollywood, a time of unparalleled fame and success for the movie industry. Nowadays, movies are praised for their stellar sound quality and special effects, but back in the 30s, talking films were enough to cause the biggest buzz yet. The Jazz Singer was the first ever talking film released in 1927. After that, people of all ages would flock to the local movie theater to catch the latest releases starring the biggest actors of the time. Over the next decade, 2/3 of Americans were attending the theater at least once a week. Nowadays, watching a movie is a whole different experience. With streaming platforms like Netflix, HBO, and Amazon, viewers can browse hundreds of titles from the comfort of their own home. Why buy a ticket to watch the latest Marvel movie in a cinema when you can wait a few months and catch it on your own screen at home? But back in the day, it wasn't just about watching the film, it was about the experience of going to the movie theater. The velvet seats, the buttered popcorn, the chance to see your favorite stars on the big screen. Some of the most acclaimed movies in history were released at this time. Films like Citizen Kane and The Grapes of Wrath. These kinds of movies would have caused quite the craze at the local cinema. Back then, you had a limited window to catch the latest flick. But nowadays, reruns and streaming services means new releases don't carry quite the same buzz. People today are choosing to watch films at their own convenience and in their own space. Why bother going to an afternoon matinee when you can pick a film to watch on your TV while doing the housework? Well, the phenomenon of home theaters all started in the 1950s. By the early 50s, millions of Americans owned a television. Suddenly, people now had the chance to watch a movie from the comfort of their own home. That's not to say that the cinema experience didn't have its advantages. TV broadcasting was still in black and white. Not to mention, the theater offered a widescreen format for a more immersive experience. Studios at the time did their best to win back audiences with new features. But alas, movie attendance never reached the peak of the 1940s again. The VCR was another huge game changer. Nowadays, it's rare to find a household with a DVD player, never mind a VCR. Movies on tape seem like a relic of the past. But back in the 80s, VCRs were found in almost every American home. By the late 1990s, around 90 million households owned a VCR. Movie studios found a new source of revenue beyond the original theatrical release. Movie releases on video became a newfound priority. Having a membership card to your local video store was a must. Remember heading to your local Blockbuster store to rent your Friday night movie? How the biggest problem was trying to decide which movie to rent? The DVD would soon replace the VHS tape as the go-to way of watching movies at home, but even the DVD would soon lose its luster. Drive-in theaters also had their best days before video rental outlets like Blockbuster were popping up on every corner. The drive-in offered people another kind of movie experience. Hooking up the speaker to the car door, walking through the rows of cars to the concession stand to load up on snacks, and packing the car with as many friends as possible. Since, unlike movie theaters, you paid per car and not per person. Today, drive-ins are becoming relics of a bygone era. But the top studios are facing even bigger rivals and challenges in the digital age. Netflix, Disney+, Amazon Prime, Apple TV+. That's right, we're talking about streaming platforms. Nowadays, most households have a subscription to some kind of digital service. But not that long ago, people had personal collections of films on DVD or Blu-ray discs, and sometimes both. Well, now there's no need for these collections. You can watch almost any film with a few clicks of a button. Today, it's kind of like we each have our own personal theater, a catalog of films right at our fingertips. Not only has the viewing experience changed over the years, but so have the kinds of movies being made. By the 1990s, film was moving in two different directions: the big-budget blockbuster and the independent, low-budget film. Everyone's heard of Warner Brothers, 20th Century Fox, and Paramount. Even today, these are some of the most influential movie studios. But back then, these studios completely dominated the movie industry. They controlled everything from production to release to distribution. This slowly started to shift in the 90s. Independent directors, such as the Coen brothers, were growing in popularity. They won audiences over with their low-budget films that suited the home viewing experience. The indie film genre has seen a huge surge in recent years, with independent productions earning more and more recognition and a place in the mainstream spotlight. That's not to say that the big blockbuster is going anywhere. The franchising of action and superhero films has kept audiences coming back for sequel upon sequel. But now it seems more and more companies are taking a piece of the pie. The quality of home TVs and streaming platforms have caused quite the shakeup, but there's nothing like experiencing today's special effects and sound quality in the actual cinema. Nowadays, the CGI used in Marvel films puts the visual effects of the previous century to shame. But back then, film crews had to think outside the box. Think cardboard spaceships hanging from a string and actors in bulky monster suits. Most people probably know the 2005 version of King Kong, which won an Oscar for its state-of-the-art special effects. But the original 1933 version was actually groundbreaking for its visuals: stop-motion animation, rear projection, and miniature models. Back then, these were all used to bring the beast to life. Today, audiences would probably find the old-school version more comical than scary. These methods were actually the norm until not too long ago. Even movies like Star Wars used miniature models and camera tricks to create epic space battles. Now, forget about special effects for a second. There was a time in movie history when color was still a recent phenomenon. Technicolor had its film debut in the late 1920s. Watching movies in black and white was the only option until classics like The Wizard of Oz and Gone with the Wind were released. These were some of the first films to bring the triumph of Technicolor to film. Nowadays, of course, they're less remembered for their picture quality since every movie is now filmed in color. But at the same time, this was a giant leap in cinematic advancement. With bigger and better technology, the industry is seeking out new ways to showcase said technology and make more money in the process. So it's no surprise that remakes have become so popular. Studios have found a new source of revenue in the fan base of old classics. Live-action remakes of animated Disney films have been one of the biggest movie trends of the past decade. Films like Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, Mulan, and The Lion King have all received the treatment. Special effects are giving a makeover to these fan favorites. Since its inception, digital technology has always been a way to draw viewers to the big screen. Back in the 90s, Toy Story was a hit as the first fully computer-animated film. Other classics of the decade like The Matrix and Jurassic Park also showed the power of computer-generated effects. New and improved graphics could transport viewers into another world. The decade also saw the rise of 3D movies. Although 3D films have been around for over a century, they experienced a new wave of popularity in the 2000s. Films like Avatar immersed users in a three-dimensional world. Combined with better graphics and sound quality, what more could you want out of your movie-going experience? So the question then comes down to, what's next for cinema? It's undeniable that theaters will need to evolve in order to bring audiences back to the big screen. The addition of premium seating and interactive seats that react to the action on screen is no longer just a futuristic vision. As televisions get bigger and better, the cinematic experience can almost be replicated. The ease and comfort of home streaming platforms have stolen the spotlight, making the cinemas fight harder for your entertainment dollars. Thanks for watching, we truly appreciate it. Tap or click another great video, hit that subscribe button, and ring that notification bell.